When I started to look into doing a podcast, I knew I had a lot to share and say, and I wanted to do it in an audio format. I was a little intimidated, not going to lie, about how I was going to go about recording and editing and distributing and all those things because technology is not my strong suit. Naturally, I can learn things. And so when I started to take webinars and ask questions on Facebook and other platforms, I decided that Anchor was the best way to go. It's been a bit of a one-stop shop for me. I can record all of my episodes, I can edit them. It's been really nice because it's free. And when I started to do a podcast, it was, okay, how am I going to rebuild my practice? I had to close my practice down because of COVID, federal mandate. So how was I going to rebuild things? How was I going to give myself something to do? Because this defines me. What I do, it defines me. So I really needed an outlet, and the budget was like nothing. So having this free option has been great. Um, I am recording on my laptop, but I can also record on my phone if I decide that's a way to go, or maybe I don't have my laptop on me. And so that's pretty exciting to know I can do it from there too. They also take and distribute to various apps for people to listen on, which again, that is taking one stressor away from me so I can focus on my content. And if it's something you'd like to do, if you have something you'd like to say, I can't recommend it enough for somebody who's a newbie and starting out. And I feel like even if I wasn't, new at this, it's been something I've been doing for a while, I would still like this platform because of the ease of everything. So if it is something you'd like to look into, you can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. That's ANCHOR.fm to get started. Welcome to The Infinite Dance. I'm your host, Carri Arata, Akashic Records reader, psychic sleuth, and spiritual guide. Oh my goodness, here we are at the end of June, going into July, from jam-packed June to the juggling of July. That's what I'm calling July. That's what's coming through for these Akashic messages for July. And before we get into that, though, I wanted to make note of a couple things. One thing in particular is this atrocious conservatorship, I hope I'm saying that right, of Britney Spears. Oh my gosh. What an awful thing. And I remember hearing something about it a couple of years ago, and I know there was a documentary made. And I did hear another psychic do something. She tapped into Britney Spears' energy. So a lot of psychics will get either a living or passed on person that was famous when they were living or famous now. If there's something going on and they feel like this person can help get their message out, if they're feeling trapped or they were feeling like they weren't able to express themselves. And this gal had tapped into her energy and had kind of said some of this, and we hadn't heard about this necessarily the way we are now, of what's going on with her. And I remember God thinking, poor thing, here's this gal that's gone through her whole life pretty much in the spotlight, and now it's coming to truth that the past 13 years she was under the oppression of her father. I mean, it's just astounding that somebody could do that to another person. And conservatorship is usually for somebody who is incapacitated, mentally, physically, all of the above. Usually they're an older person, older in age. And so the fact that she is not old, she is not incapacitated. She went on and did, I think she has a stint in Vegas right now. And I don't know how many millions she's bringing in on that, but you gotta have your faculties with you. And she's dancing all over the stage, so physically she's doing all right, and she's keeping up with her songs. So to me, she seems like she's okay to make her own decisions. And hashtag free Britney. I will sign any petition or to get her out of this binding with her father. And I haven't been asked to tap into her energy by her, and I don't read somebody's Akashic records without them giving me an okay, whether they're living or passed on. But what I know of what's going on spiritually, what's going on with Britney Spears and her father is, contracts, bindings, oaths, curses to soul. These are the things that are going on with her. Soul facets lost and exchanged or stolen. Big things that have gone on in order for this to happen in a lifetime. And we get to see this, kind of unfold in front of us. And because we're ascending, because we're all waking up, there is a dismantling of this oppressive behavior all over the place. Thank goodness. There's nothing worse to me than knowing somebody is being kept from their free will to do as they should for the highest benefit of themselves and others. Right? I mean, not somebody who wants to do harm, but somebody who wants to do good. They should never be kept from doing that. And we'll keep seeing the lifting of these veils of these systemic traumas that have been happening to so many of us, collectively and individually. And I am sending her all the light and healing through this transition into, living her life as she should be, a thriving, abundant, strong woman. And I am going to link, and I'm forgetting her name. I'm going to link, let me see. I'm going to look here while we're in the middle of the podcast episode. But I did post on my socials a gal, her name is, she posted a really, really interesting take on what's going on with Britney Spears. Oh, okay. Her name is at Maya Luna. And so if you look her up on Instagram or Facebook, and she's on, I posted this whole post on mine. So if you look up my name, Carri, you can go straight to it and see I posted all of it, including a link to her website. So check her out. She really, I couldn't have said it any better. She articulated it really well, and what she's going through and how we're going to see it unfold. And it's just unfortunate when it's beyond unfortunate. It's beyond words. To know that somebody, like Britney Spears was a pawn for somebody's greed and lifestyle, and especially knowing it was, her father. So anyways, hashtag free Britney. And I hope she gets to experience life as she, as she should be, with all of the greatness that she is. So, all right, into the episode, Akashic Messages for July. I'm calling this the Juggling of July. First off, Archangel Alexandra came, and she came in, and she specifically bent down to open a door it was a diamond shaped door. And of course, that's always a knowing power, right? Your high priestess knowledge. And she opened it for you and to say to stand in and walk in your power. So not only just to stand in it, but make sure you're walking in your power. So everything that you do, I kept getting images. That's why I called it the juggling of July. The Two of Pentacles energy. And I am going to post on my interwebs, and those will always be posted in the show notes, the tarot card from the A Guide to Mystic Fairy Tarot by Barbara Moore. The one I kept seeing was this one. And it is, an image of the fairy, and she's standing and she's holding... hold on one sec. She's holding two like acorns or another gourd of some kind in her hands, and she's trying to juggle them. You can tell she's kind of like, one's a little bit large, and she's trying to keep it up with it. And it says you probably feel like there's so much on your plate, right? And with everything that's going on right now, as we are trying to move into these new ways of speaking, these new ways of being with each other, and now we're going to get to be around each other, right? There's a juggling of figuring everything out, figuring out how you're going to incorporate that in your work, in your social life. It's new, right? And even though it has to be done, this has to be embraced, it's still new. And it's okay for us to acknowledge that, and the fact that it's going to be a bit of a juggle while we figure it all out. And that leads me to the next image that I got, which was a man standing with his back at us. Okay, so it was a man with like short dark hair, dressed like a polo shirt and slacks. Okay, so and he was symbolizing, and he's looking out into this vast almost like different planets and worlds. So he's just seeing so much in front of him, but we're only seeing him from behind. We don't see his face at all. And he's symbolizing old paradigms, right? And when he's looking out into this vast planets and worlds, you get to choose. This is new. It's grand, right? They're huge. When he's looking at these planets and he's looking at this kind of atmosphere, it's huge. The old way of thinking, doing things is out. It's this new way, and standing still and embracing it, or even pondering it. Okay? Because again, all of this is not easy for everybody. Some are extremely resistant, some because of limiting beliefs, some because of age, some generational, some because of maybe a combination. But it does need to be, this change needs to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen. And so, having this time to step back and look, and then having that choice. And he also is symbolizing, some are not going to be able to have a foot, quote unquote, in the third dimension as much anymore. Those that are trying to really embrace and see the higher view and take a higher stance and see more. It's just going to be harder to function within the frequency that our third dimensional existence has afforded. So it'll be harder to have that foot in there, but then a lot will start to experience what it's like to have a foot in both worlds. And that's also what he's symbolizing too, that there are going to be some that will start to embrace, but they'll still have a foot in this world, this frequency, this dimension, and that's okay, as long as there's that space for change. So the last image I got a lot with this one. The last image I got was of a young girl, and she's in a new party dress, right? So, but she's a young girl, so she's like 10 or younger. So she's in a young girl's dress. There's ruffles, and it's a little frilly. Yet it has embedded in the fabric, right? So it's not just even on the fabric; it's like in the fabric. It's hard to describe it. So it's almost like it's just a part of the fabric of this dress. But it has these new ways of speaking, phrases, words embedded into it. And so she's at this social gathering, and she's got her dress, and she's kind of pulling it down, and she's looking down at it. And she's there with other people, and they're looking down, and they're looking down at their own. And this is us. This symbolizes us as a collective, how we are getting to, quote unquote, try out this new version of ourselves with each other. We're different, we're new, coming out of pandemic, lockdown, shutdowns, all the different tiers we went through, TIER, tears and tears, that we've all been through. And this is part of the new earth that you're hearing a lot of people talk about, and we're getting this in the summertime. So we're getting this earth experience during summer. We're out and about. It's warm. We can be around each other more, and we get to see what it's like to experience each other with this new version of ourselves. So no matter what you went through during the heart of the pandemic, no matter where you were, essential worker, business shut down, sheltered in place, started to homeschool, had to keep going to work every day, and experience. It was, we all experienced massive trauma. And so, of course, when you come out of something so tough, you're going to be changed forever. And that's where we are. And so kind of seeing it as you're wearing this new dress, or this new garment, or this new way of being. And Kuan Yin showed up to remind us to be gentle and have compassion and lead with kindness with ourselves and each other while we're all going through this. And another card that showed, or I pulled a series of cards for this messages, was the Water Crystal Oracle. It was summer that came through from Dr. Emoto. And I'll post these on my interwebs socials, I guess, what we call them. Anyway, so you can see those and follow along. So the last thing I was hearing then, so I got the images, and then I heard Let It Go, and it was the song, right, from the Frozen, and it was the version, though, of that song. Idina Menzel was singing with Jimmy Fallon and the Roots, and they have this segment on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and the Roots where they get together with their guests and they have classroom instruments, like little kids' instruments. If you haven't seen it, you can Google it or YouTube it. I'm going to link the song into this because I just thought it was so perfect and the words were so perfect, and I just love her. I love her voice, and I love the Roots, and I love Jimmy Fallon, so it was kind of perfect. but letting go of it all that's not serving to the highest benefit. And I mean, it's this joyous, right? This version of the song with all of them singing with the classroom instruments. It's just joyous and it's fun, right? So having fun with the letting go. A lot of people say, oh my God, I have to let go of this idea. I have to let go of this way of being. Well, there can be joy with the letting go. I have tattooed, one of my tattoos on my arm is Let It Go. And it was not to this song. It was pre-Frozen. But the whole part of my tattoo, Let It Go's on my arm, on large intestine meridian. I did study and do practice acupressure and a Chinese medicine form, and then I have breathe on my wrist. It was supposed to be on my thumb, but the tattoo artist said, no, it's not, it's in color and it's not lined in black. It's going to fade. Put it somewhere else. So I put it on my wrist. And then there's a heart where pericardium meridian is, which that is the sac that surrounds the heart. And so the whole tattoo message is let it go, to breathe in love. And the breathe is in like a light blue. So I guess it does have kind of a bit of a Frozen connotation, but the song is fantastic. So however you feel about the animation, it's a great song. This rendition is fantastic and full of joy. And so embracing this change with joy. And if this is confusing, if it's confusing to let go and you don't understand why, and you don't understand what's happening, let's refer back to that image of the man standing still. Okay? Because remember, he's pondering. He's looking forward. We're seeing the back of him, but he's looking forward. And there's a lot we can gain in stillness. You all know I love to meditate, and I talk about meditation or stillness or just being still with yourself. You don't even have to call it meditation. But refer back to just getting still for a minute and knowing it's okay to be in that, because it is hard. It is hard embracing new. And so the last bit, when I was drawing the cards, the last bit of this Akashic messages for July, I drew 4. I always turn over the bottom one. It's just something I always do when I do like a 3-card pull, and then I turn over the bottom in the deck. I used Ghosts and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt. And these are fantastically... I'm using fantastic a lot today. I guess I'm feeling good. I'm pretty good. I like feeling good. Feeling a little overwhelmed though today. There's a lot going on. Today is Monday. I am recording this the Monday before you're hearing it. But these cards are so intricately designed, and the images are just so involved. So I'm going to post each one of them separately up close so you can really kind of delve in and see, along with, I'm going to go over them and my interpretations when I drew these, and then what she actually wrote, because I really like, these are all about different ghosts and spirits, and they all come with their own knowledge. So the first card was the Magician. And, it's this image, and he's looking up into the higher realm. And, really, I feel like embracing his power. And the second card is the Fool. And this particular Fool, he is walking with a dog, and he has a staff, and he has a bit of a cape on, and there's all these different energies all around him. There's like, tree spirits and earth spirits, and they're all kind of there. So he's kind of really, he can go both ways. When I interpreted this, he's out on his adventure, he's starting anew, he's doing it, but there's a lot of, there can be a lot of chaos along the way, and there could be a lot of, I'm hearing rhetoric or different opinions, right, on your journey that you are going to hear. And then the last card, third card, was the Two of Cups. And it's an image of a gal, and she's looking into this pot of a plant. And I didn't know what plant it was until I read the card. And so this was just my interpretation. She's looking into this pot, and she looks sad. She looks really sad. So, but it is a 2, and it is cups, and it's emotions. So having either a joining together or a coming together or a give and take of, nurturing the plant and having it give you the oxygen and the beauty that it comes with. And then the Ten of Pentacles was on the bottom. So, right, reaping the rewards of our labors and really being able to enjoy. And this card is really has all these, again, tree spirits and faces in the rocks, but they're welcoming, and it's like, hey, look what all you did. There are some that are a little like, huh. But the water is sparkling and it's moving and it looks welcoming. Again, these are ghosts and spirits, the cards. So the Magician, though, so what she put on the Magician and what the actual picture is of, he's called a psychopomp. And that's the kind of ghost spirit. And then he assists in those transitioning between death and afterlife and offer comfort to both the living and the dead. The psychopomp helps to provide a bridge between the conscious and unconscious. In essence, the merging of all layers of consciousness symbolizes wholeness and self-awareness. The spirals indicate the transference of energy from one form to another. They also reiterate the cyclical nature of life and afterlife. And the divinatory meaning, so she always has the divinatory meaning, is the human psyche hosts limitless knowledge about the universe and the omnipresent energies around us. And I think that's so fitting to that image of that man, right? Looking out into the ethers, pretty much. You can access messages beyond the veils of immediate recognition if you open up channels of communication with the mysteries that lie just beyond limited perception, right? So when we start to embrace taking down, letting go, those limiting perceptions, we've got such a vast array of information and ways to interact with ourselves and those around us. So really opening up all of that. And again, these cards are so great. Every time I look at them, I see something new. And the second card was the Fool. And the image of the young, or the images all around, so the wood spirits are called Leshy, Leshy, inhabiting the dark forests of the Baltics. These shapeshifters can assume many guises and range in temperament from malevolent to mischievous. Excuse me. They are elusive and difficult to detect, but can lead the unwary traveler astray with their ability to mimic sounds. Entering a forest can be analogous to entering the unknown terrain of the unconscious. The tangle of branches indicates the challenges that lay ahead. The faces in the rocks illustrate the gamut of emotion and life lessons that await us. The dog is aware of the supernatural presence and serves as an intuitive guide for the carefree individual. So how perfect is that too, right? To have our guides and knowing our guides are always there to help us on our journey, especially these solo journeys. When we're doing a lot of this work, we're doing it solo. Even if you're in a partnership, you have people around you, you're doing your work solo. So the divinatory meaning is maintaining a sense of adventure, helps carry you through the challenges ahead. Preserve a childlike optimism as you explore new paths. But bear in mind that anything can happen along the way. And I think that this card depicts that perfectly. And kind of like what I said, that there can be chaos and there can be various things that you encounter and opinions. But you've got your trusty sidekick, whether it's a dog or Archangel Alexandra or another ascended master avatar that you are a part of your inner circle guides. And the third card was the Two of Cups. And this one is dark. And this one stood out to me before I even read it. And so the image is called Isabella in the Pot of Basil. And it's from a John Keats poem. And it tells the tragic tale of a young woman's impossible relationship with a servant. Her brothers, who wanted their sister to marry someone of high breed, discovered her secret and murdered her lover. They buried him in the forest and told their waiting sister that he had sailed away. His ghost appeared to her and exposed the truth of his murder. Mad with grief, Isabella found the body, cut off his head, and buried it in a pot with basil. She tended to it with impassioned fervor and nourished it with endless tears. Upon discovering its contents, the brothers absconded with the evidence, leaving Isabella to mourn the loss of the pot of basil and all the love that it symbolized. Isabella pours water into the pot, symbol of nurturance. The robust basil represents the enduring love despite sad circumstances. That's dark. That's dark. I mean, really? I understand deep soul connection and all that, but really, believe me. But cutting off a head, whew, that's like, no. Like, is this morbid? You know, that's another podcast I like listening to. I have referenced them before. If you like true crime and you like some great banter, the gals that host that are wonderful. I love their podcast. Anyways, but this is not that. And this tale, though, of Isabella and the pot of basil, you know, the divinatory meaning is a bit of love can hurt, but it is also a powerful force in one's life. Love requires give and take, the emotions of one feeding the other. I think that's just like, whoa. And, you know, it really stood out, too, that, you know, she liked this, or her soul was attracted to a quote-unquote servant. And, you know, as we're talking about the suppression, and I led in with the Britney Spears conservatorship and how taking away somebody's free will and then continuing to take away somebody's free will, even when love was there. It's so sad. This card's so sad to me. And it really, you know, kind of rang true to the times, and it's very fitting that it came up. That, you know, we're gonna experience that sadness, whether it's happening to us or others, and really tapping into how awful it is when someone takes away something as pure as love. Yeah. The last card, the bottom card, is the Ten of Pentacles. And let's see, this one is, I wasn't going to read all of them, but they're so interesting. So it's animism. So the depiction on the card is called animism, the belief that natural phenomena are infused with spirit, involves worshiping people, animals, objects, and the dead. Communication with a spirit may entail the help of a shaman, an amulet, or a representative object. The dream state is another way to enter the realm of spirits. The forest is teeming with life. All the elements merge together and exhibit the verdant wealth of their collective efforts. The stream is symbolic of an active unconscious, providing burgeoning ideas that flow to the surface. The spirits in the rocks and trees absorb the energy around them, enabling them to thrive into conscious awareness. How beautiful is that? This from this really sad, morbid Two of Cups to this Ten of Pentacles, right? Beautiful. And of course, Ten of Pentacles is this beautiful, and other decks there's rainbows and you know, coming together of partners and this, you know, after you've achieved an accomplishing time, you get to enjoy those rewards, and that's the commonality of this card always. And relish in your hard work, and I think it's important to acknowledge each step too of the way right now. And I think it's so fitting that there's little stepping stones in the Ten of Pentacles, I just posted about that, how each step really is our life journey. Each step we take, and a lot of times it's a step-by-step process to rebuild, to come back to building a practice, or you're starting you're in a new town, you're in a new space. So those are the messages for July, the Akashic messages for July. So those are my channelings with the higher realm, with my guides. If you are newer, I do work with the archangels, ascended masters, avatars, spirit guides, but mainly the archangels, especially with the collective. Of course, Kuan Yin came in today too. Love Kuan Yin. She's one of my main guides. And you can find information about the cards that I posted on Facebook. So I will have those on my business page. So my business is Ancient Bodyworks. I'm on Instagram, and Facebook as Ancient Bodyworks. The Infinite Dance has its own page on Facebook. Please go ahead and send a request. I'd love to have you in that space. I post things throughout the week pertaining to the podcast, and it's always open for, if you have something to share. If you do have stories you'd like to share, I'd love to hear them. Carri Lynn Arata at gmail.com. And if you'd like a private reading, ancientbodyworks.co. My books are open, I believe, for the end of July. I've gotten booked up until about the third week of July. So I'd love to give you a private session. Twitter, the Infinite Dance, or at Infinite Dance 8. And listener support always helps. I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/The Infinite Dance, where I do have guided meditations and bonus content that you are welcome to purchase and support this podcast. And every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do host an Akashic guided meditation that's live channeled. And I do go into tapping and breath work before we get into the meditation. All are welcome. It's suggested donation of $13, but don't let that stop you. Please come. I'd love to have you. And starting this week, I am going to start posting meditations on YouTube. I'm not sure what day. It's a bit of a surprise right now. But there will be a little 10-minute guided meditation, Akashic guided meditations on what's going on currently. So if there's a full moon or a new moon or anything like that with the planets or the Schumann resonance, we'll pick that up within the meditations. So those will go along with all of that. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you all tuning in. And these come out every Tuesday. So look for a new episode next Tuesday. And if you do have a chance, please go to my YouTube and subscribe. The Infinite Dance, the Akashic Podcast. That's what it is on YouTube. And keep peeling back the layers and keep asking yourselves and each other, may I have this dance?